Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Mary Price. I'm the Events and Marketing Director at the Shingo Institute at Utah State University. And today we have Danilo Rodriguez Santos, who is a maintenance leader at Vale, one of the world's largest mining companies. The Oil Exchange and Maintenance Complex in São Luís, Brazil, received the Shingo Silver in 2025. And I'm so excited to learn more about the success of the site today. In our newsletter earlier this month, we published an article. It's called Interaction of Systems, Leadership Empowerment, and People Connection. And that's the topic that we're discussing today. And if you'd like to read the article, you just need to go to shingo.org/articles. Our guest today will be speaking in English, although his native tongue is Portuguese. And I wanted to let everybody out there know that we will be offering subtitles in Portuguese and Spanish on the recording. So if you're not able to follow along on the English portion today, then we'll have that available tomorrow for you as well. So with that, Danilo, I am so excited to turn the time over to you. And thank you so much for sharing your time with us today.
Oh, wow, what a introduction. Good morning, everyone. My name is Danilo Rodriguez, and today I would like to share our journey at Vale's Carajás Railway, where we explore how the interaction of systems, leadership, and people can accelerate organizational excellence. This presentation is not only about tools or management practices. It's about how people connect to a common purpose and how leadership can create the environment that enables sustainable transformation. Before discussing the transformation itself, let me provide you some context. Vale is one of the world's largest mining companies with more than 18 years of history and operations in several countries. One of its most important logistics assets is the Carajás Railway, also known as EFC. For over 4 decades, the railway has connected mine, rail, and port operations while contributing significantly to economic development, employment, and social inclusion in northern Brazil. The diversity of people who work in this operation is one of its greatest strengths. Vale is more than 1,700 people. We are leading the iron ore mining and also base metals. We are leading the decarbonization in the industry of steel. So we are a lot of production also for nickel and copper. As I said, today we have operations in headquarters in offices in several countries. We can consider right now some of 19 countries all over the continents. As I said, we have in Brazil some corridors that concentrate in the iron ore mining. So we can consider as three: the northern corridor, southwest and south corridor, and the EFC railway is located at the northern corridor, connecting two edges of the Amazon forest. Our railway history is about 40 years of operation. We already reached a lot of important numbers. So we reached already important, very expressive numbers. And we have today an operation with about 6,000 employees, connecting two states of Brazil with a lot of assets to do this job. 2023, our operational vice president launched an initiative to us for major our management system and model improve our operational process. The challenge was not only simple to improve performance. The challenge was not simple to create a new numbers. The challenge was to create a system capable of sustaining improvement over time while strengthening our future. To support the journey, we adopt the Shingo Model as our guiding framework. The facility selected was the CTMR. In Portuguese, is the Wheel Set and Maintenance Center. We have a fleet of more than 20,000 wagons 80,000 wheel sets and 106,000 bearings, with 6 independent lines over 24 hours per day, uninterrupted operation in 2 shifts every day. We perform the wheel set exchanges and the wheel set maintenance. So how do we engage people to reach or to run for practice, for the challenge of the Shingo practice? We consider our operation is about 500 people, including leaders, senior staff, and operators. We all have technical background as demand, and most of all, we did internal career. We started off the low levels of our hierarchy, and then with feedback and with individual development plan, we applied as the principle of the Shingo principle itself to meet with humility and respect every individual. So it's good to us to know that our organization consider us to develop us career. So how did we put this on March? One of the most important actions was the creation of the Ricardo Dominici Strategic Room. This room became much more than a meeting room. We are not just in the same space. It became a place for learning, a place for collaboration, a place for reflection, a place for problem solving and recognition. The room was named after Ricardo Dominici, respected professional whose career exemplifies dedication, learning, and knowledge sharing. His legacy inspired the entire team throughout the journey. So when we have this space, when we can collaborate with each other, we can exercise the leadership and we can bring all the workforce to help us accelerate, to help us to reach our goal. Okay. We had a massive cultural driver moment and we introduced to help us with our performance, the behaviors. So the behaviors were so important for this process. Inside the strategic room, we focused heavily on visual management. We implemented Jordan timelines when we celebrated our goals and quick wins. We made a lot of scoreboards to follow the actions and take the actions in March. We follow a lot of action plans and Gantt charts and performance indicators. These tools allow everyone to see both achievements and challenges. Progress has become transparent. People could immediately understand where we were and where we want to go and what actions were needed. After the Discover Excellence in the System Design workshop, we began mapping and structuring our operation systems. For each system, we define the purpose, scope, responsibilities, frequency, performance measures, and key actions. The goal was to ensure that every activity contributed directly to organization objectives. As you can see, just for example, I brought 2 KPIs and 2 KBIs that supported the performance. As we want to replace the wheel sets timely, we need to behave, or all operators need to consider and need to behave and need to act to ensure that the initial conditions of the workstation meets the defined standard. As we want to ensure the availability for the companies for the spare parts, and our operations need to also know demand. They need to know what they are demanding, and they need to monitor gains and loss in our base. So just for you to know, 2 of our KPIs and 2 of KPIs that supports our results. Shingo Journey brought us the opportunity to start this revolution in Vale, but we right now nowadays we are not alone. 1 year before, we didn't know where the VPS systems were going. 1 year after the Shingo started to be considered in Vale, we could start a huge change. This change reached the level to start to change our management system for all the company. So in this moment, we realized that more than performance, more than results, we need to reach the cultural transformation. So Shingo Model offered this to us. We could see beyond and could try to start to change our company. So after 2 decades of our management system, we started to do this change. We were the first site that we started to put this in practice. And now we can see the entire difference, the entire changing we did with our previous GPS system and right now. We abandoned the system concentrating on rules and requirements, and today we have system concentration in practice. We are already doing this. We are already spreading this model for all Vale. For our facility, we started to do a value stream map, and we could identify all systems, all work systems, the system that transform our material, that deliver results. And the systems is very important because we need to do, we need to know everything we are doing to help and to support these work systems to give results. And every system or work or improvement system, we define a sponsor. So according to the structure of our organization, we associated this with the stream map, and we could identify the work systems and take them to the wall and consider evaluate the performance by the metrics and by the behaviors. Okay, so you can see the work systems slide. We can see sub improvement system. Okay, that helped us to evolve, to develop work systems in the management system. One practice we became especially valuable to us was the go and observe. You know that the transformation happens on the floor. So we couldn't make no changing if we did not understood all the things that are happening in the game. Okay, so this is the jewel of the crown. If you want to empower leadership, if you want to engage people, if you want to take the things faster, you need to go deeper on your floor. Okay, you need to lead this process. The go and observe process is very, very precious. We can understand reality. We can coach teams. We can identify opportunities. We can recognize achievements, and can strengthen trust. The people, they need to look to the leaders, and they need to trust. So we made a lot of changes, but we made it because in one moment we press the activities. We can do more and more for our people when we go to the gamble, when we go and observe the process, when we touch them and listen for them. So the quality of our conversations improved dramatically when discussions were based on direct observation. How do we merge all this information? We need to establish kind of calendar, weekly sessions with 1 hour length. And in this hour, we discussed what we did in the last week, what actions we did, what actions we need to do, what actions maybe we delayed. And when you redefine the direction, we can look better to the systems. We can update the systems. We can direct all the efforts to the same direction. And we can evolve our KPIs into our KBIs. We can discuss about behaviors and we can celebrate. After this part, we need to document the lessons learned and we need to define what we're going to do in the next steps. The sessions was leader guided. We need to show us in this moment what people need to look for the leader. And we need to use our system sponsor as a focal point to consider all the discussion and take the actions in place. This way, we can create a staff community on the people can share and the people can celebrate together. And this was very important because we could engage all the people. So our results and the key takeaways, we had cultural outcomes. We could exercise a lot of cognitivity, a lot of humility. We could learn more about the process and take better decisions. And all this just was possible because we had leadership support. So the key factor in this process was when we understood that the leader and the sponsor needs to guide the team through the right direction. We need to improve our behaviors to take ideal results, demands ideal behaviors. So what's next? Beside Vale, we are considering several new sites for running for the Shingo Prize. So we internally share this approach to use mechanisms like this, trying to accelerate the intent to and teach them, coach them how we did to 1 year and a half after we had the Shingo introduction, the Shingo Model introduction, we got this silver deck. So right now you can see internally we are using and spreading this approach, even in Brazil or international operations. All of us are doing the same. All of us are practicing the new VIPS model and considering to know our value stream map, mapping the work systems, mapping the sub-improvement systems, going to Gemba to take the real reality of the floor, and with leadership and with ownership and engagement, we believe that for the next operations, we will reach even better results. So we are very proud to share this today with you. Right now, I'm very proud to be here with you. I had a lot of support. I need to thank to Chris Borrell for inspiring me to write my article, and Mr. Gersval Pessoa to help me every day on making the understanding about Shingo Model and all the Shingo Institute staff. Okay, we are always very kind. And we know that excellence is not a destination, but a continuous journey of people connection, empowered leadership. So this is the key content that I'm here today to share with you.
Thank you so much, Danilo. That was excellent. It was nice to hear about the leadership involvement. It's great to see that there's so many sites that are following the same practice, and we're excited that someday hopefully they'll be able to challenge, and we'll see what happens. So that's exciting. I'm going to pause because the question just popped up. So they asked, what was the biggest challenge during the process? I'm assuming to challenge for the Shingo Prize? So
Oh, very good question. We really did this discussion internally. Okay, I can say two things. The first of all, when you start a new project, we are intending to do as we know everything. Okay, we as leaders we know everything, but this is a lie. We need to first of all we need to listen. So we need to press really the active listening. We need to know where the people, what the people demand. We need to know how they feel, and we need to know how they can feel better and they can engage more on the project. Okay. And the second, we also has a mindset that we already know to do the best. We are the best. We are the best operation for this kind of railroad maintenance. So why I need to improve? What we discovered after that is that not just to improve performance, we need to improve behaviors. We need to reach new results. We need to reach sustainable results. So we can't do this just elaborating more complex or more technological process. We need to understand that it's by the culture, it's by the behavior and transformation that we can change for the future. So I believe this was the two more difficult tests in the beginning.
how much time did it take from when you began working with the Shingo model to when you received the Shingo Silver?
I can say it was in on 1 year and a half, but it's not just this. The Vale in Vale we have our VPS. VPS has more than 2 decades. We're developing the VPS in this side. So as I said, in 2023, our operational VP guided us to reach a new level. So we started that moment at the end of 2023, and we got the recognition in early 2025, February. So from December 2023 to February 2025, 1 year and a half, we could reach the silver medal.
As you have implemented systems in your organization, what guiding principle did you find most important initially?
No doubt is respect every individual and lead with humility. Okay, as I said, I think I told a lot of arguments for you to convince you that the base of the Shingo model is about people. We need to understand that the Shingo model is all about people. We are talking about cultural transformation. So we can't reach enterprise alignment if you can even hear of people. So I'm 100% absolutely sure is respect every individual and lead with humility.
Could you talk a little bit more about the go and see, and particularly how easy was it for leaders to adopt a coaching style more than observe and feedback?
Okay, I don't remember. I say it was easy. Was not easy. Okay, we organize this way. We elaborate a lot of forms, the Gamma forms, to look for the principles, to look for the tools, to look for the systems, and to look for the results. And this kind of guide that we elaborated previously helped us to see what we wanted to see in Gemba. So we started to make a lot of Gemba and go and observe moments. In the weekly sessions, we brought all this information to the same place. So it's everyday work. We need to consider that every day you need to go to Gemba. You need to observe your process. So in the beginning it was not easy, but we need to change our way to see the things. Okay, but when you see the things happen and the momentum of our all actions taking place, you kind of feedback this process and turn it easier. but you can face some difficult in the initial steps.
How did you go about defining or deciding what KPIs you wanted to monitor?
First of all, you need to define. Okay, you need to start. Maybe you done. You won't start perfect. Okay, but you need to start. So you need to understand your process and define the performance that you expect for the process, and then we need to understand for the all the levels of your organization how we need to behave now, how you need to what you need to do, how the people can see me doing something that is in the direction to support that result. Okay, so no pressure. It's just understanding, and if you start and after 10 sessions, 20 sessions, you understand that you need to review the performance of the parameters, the KPIs or the KPIs, no problem. You can change the course and correct the course for your objects, but you cannot give up. You cannot insist on something that you are seeing that is not working. Okay, so you need to do a humility exercise to reach the conclusion that we need to change. So there's no problem in changing, but the real purpose is to evolve, is to develop your system.
I love that. It's all about continuous improvement and evolving and becoming better every day, right?
Of course.
Danilo, I am so thankful for you and your time today. And we don't have any other questions, but I appreciate you. And thanks to all of our attendees and your participation today. And I hope that it was useful information. And we'll see you again next month then. Thank you.
See you. See you all. Thank you all.